Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our evening edition of Big Brother 22 live feed spoilers. We are closing off day 6 here.
Yep.
Coco Vanderwolf is here.
Very excited.
Clearly, very. She's disappointed that Ian has not worn a dog costume so far this season. She does not feel like she has gotten enough of her dog brethren on TV.
That's a good poll.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's go all the way back to season 4. Ian's happy now. He's got his hammock. Everybody's been to the backyard.
I'm really glad for that.
Yeah, there have been joyous things. It helps to distract the mind from the fact that either Kevin or Keisha is going to be evicted on Thursday, or potentially evicted. Who knows if they'll do some sort of like camp comeback twist or whatever. But here, we're going to talk about the aftermath of the veto ceremony. Conversations that are happening. What is the right move really for people to do? We'll go through it all, but before we dive in, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other updates, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store, and also our Patreon where we have live chats and so much more over there.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Kevin here. So Davon has had a talk with Kevin and kind of reassured him, saying that she feels really confident that he has the votes to stay. And this is one of the hardest with these two on the block, because I really am going to be bummed whoever goes home. Really. Can't there be some sort of, Julie's going to come in with like, here's the new twist, nobody's leaving, or...
Can she come in and bring back somebody we hate and then just have that person re-evicted week 1 so we don't feel emotionally attached to anybody?
Yeah, this one's going to hurt.
This is probably like the most emotionally distraught I've been over a week 1 boot on, even with Joey and her alter ego on Big Brother 16. And don't get me wrong, I was disappointed that we lost that. Just insanity so early. Like, I am really gonna be sad because I like both of these people a lot.
Yeah, and it's really... Now I feel like I'm eating my own words, because a week ago we did a live where I was basically like, man, I'm so happy. I love all these people in the house. I'm really enjoying everybody. And here's the consequences of that. Having so many people to kind of root for, there's going to be this, where it's like, oh man, I'm going to be bummed to lose either of these people.
Yeah, and it does not look good.
Which is why you need villains.
We do need villains. We need more mustache twirling going on in the house. We need more actual people with the devil horns going, as opposed to me just looking silly over here.
You don't look silly.
Thank you. But anyway, they need to look silly then. Put on the devil horns. But no, for now, it's not looking good for Keisha. There's just not enough people that are like straight up fighting for her. But it does sort of speak to something that Kevin has been doing, and Kevin has been doing right. So Danny and Bailey, and this was just minutes before jumping on here, they started having this conversation, and they really talked a lot about how they would sort of feel bad about the idea of getting Kevin out at this point. And a lot of it was that, he's had baggage from his season, that they think he cares so much. He apparently had a good moment at the veto ceremony. It's like Kevin's missed of making them feel bad and wanting pity and talking about being vulnerable. Like, that actually is working.
And it's worked before, and it's also been working for Nicole F. I mean, we've seen you guys talking in the comments, sort of that idea of like, oh man, if he was doing that to me, no pity for anybody, it's a game. I totally get that idea, but this works. It is working for Kevin. It is also working for Nicole F. We saw it work really well for Vanessa Russo. I mean, this is a strategy that works to tug at those heartstrings. I mean, we even saw it with Cody for that moment before he nominated Kevin, where he's like, oh man, I don't feel good about this. It's working.
Tears are an effective part of Big Brother sometimes, as long as you're good enough to sell them. And even if you're not doing tears, just emotional vulnerability. And it's the difference between Kevin and Keisha right now, where Keisha's just not really doing enough to make people feel like she really wants to be there on the same level. And I love Keisha, but there's a moral part of Big Brother where even if it's all-stars, you still want to keep people who feel like they're going to be there. I don't think everyone is like that cutthroat yet.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's talk about that. Is keeping Kevin really the right move for most of the players in the house? Because, like you said, Keisha's not really doing a lot. but Kevin is doing a lot, and the stuff that he's doing is working. So the problem is that we kind of know where Keisha's landing. She is kind of looking to work a little more with the Janelle side of the house. Nobody really for sure knows where Kevin's going to land. He's saying some frilly words over here to Cody, and that's great. But we've all seen that Kevin is really fluid in this game, and he is able to adapt. And that is why Kevin is dangerous in this game, on top of the fact that you do feel everything for him because he's, really wants to be here, and he's awkward potato, and just all these things about him where you're like, yeah, I want to keep him. And it's dangerous to keep him in the game. Should they keep Kevin in the game? No, they shouldn't keep Kevin in the game. He is dangerous, and he is pulling at people's hearts right now, and nobody knows where he's really standing.
I will say this, and I would probably get bitten in the butt for it maybe if I played Big Brother, because I feel like if I was in the house right now, I would probably want to keep Kevin, and it's not because I would probably somewhere in my heart prefer to keep Keisha, just because I know how just like devastatingly dangerous Kevin is. But the problem for me if I was in the game is that if Keisha's not coming up to me and like having a conversation and sort of letting me know where her head is at, I'm gonna be worried that Keisha's working with other people and not worried with me. But your point is still a good one, and I would have a hard time with this because I would think, okay, I can probably beat Keisha in some competitions if she doesn't really want to be there. It's like,
yes.
Remember Celebrity Big Brother with Meta World Peace, where it looked like he was about to quit every week and they just kept him?
Yeah, that's the thing about what's happening with Keisha right now. And I also really like Keisha. And yeah, she's had some conversations with Janelle and Keisha a little bit, but that is a really small alliance considering that it's basically the three of them against everybody else, and Nicole Anthony, who's on like a little island by herself at this point. And Ian, nobody knows where he's landing yet, but it may not be with the smaller alliance because that may not get him further, right? Like, it's not looking good. So, is Keisha really that big of a problem or a threat? You kind of know where she is. You know what you're dealing with. Nobody knows where Kevin is going to land. And to me, that makes her really scary, especially like you say, I'll feel for him, and I don't want to feel for him, and I will feel for him, so he needs to go.
See, I know this. As a viewer, I want Keisha to stay, and it's mostly just because I don't want to see the Janelle and Kaser side of things just get chipped away too fast, because then I don't want to lose Janelle and Kaser because they're bringing the drama. But we'll transition over to the state of things for Nicole Anthony, who has not been doing a great job at the game as of late, and it makes me sad. It's like, why do the people I love either need to be in danger or have to be struggling? But she said she was going to go and have conversations with people. She had a conversation with Memphis.
Yep.
I don't think it did anything at all. I think Memphis was cagey, and she does not get to be a part of the, as we mentioned it earlier, Blob alliance that Memphis is forming with random people.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just kind of a little bit part of the problem with all of this with Nicole Anthony in general, is just that she is really friendly, and she's someone that I think people really like, but it's not, if she's not going out and having the conversations and reading the room sort of thing, like, yeah, you still want to have those conversations with a Memphis or whoever, but you're not going to really, you kind of know who you're going to work with. You can smell your own and figure out who are people that are kind of like kindred spirits, and that feeling of that, I would be, if I was Nicole Anthony, I would be fighting to keep Kevin in the game. He is somebody that I think could be a kindred spirit for her if he could keep her in the game.
And I think that is...
and really sort of working that angle, pushing him to really get those votes.
I'm just hoping that if Kevin stays in the game, that Nicole Anthony can sort of realize, and I think this is going to be on Janelle and Kaser too, that they need to also realize we're kind of at the bottom of the house, who are likely to be some other underdogs here, and Nicole Anthony will be able to get it out of her head that Janelle and Kaser are part of some big alliance against her, because they're all going to need each other.
Yeah, they are.
yeah, like there's too many other bros and people like Nicole F and Danny and like all that. I need, please, Big Brother, bring me two sides of the house. Bring me Big Brother 20. Bring me Big Brother over the top minus the toxicity of social media.
Well, unfortunately, we got then to talk about Memphis and this Blob alliance, as you've coined it, because it is picking up steam, it is picking up people, it is picking up the whole other side of the house. And he was talking to Christmas sort of about that alliance, about Nicole F and Tyler and Danny and Cody and Christmas, and basically everybody in the house except Janelle and Case are here. And he called Janelle a snake, which is quite a pretty negative thing to say about somebody that you don't really, you don't really know that well.
I think Memphis is doing too much right now. I'll be honest with it. Like he's been too far going with this. Okay, I gotta get Christmas. I gotta get Nicole F. I gotta get Tyler, Danny. It's like he has really tried to facilitate all of this, and that can be great. But I think it's week 1. You're not in danger. I think him being as like gung-ho about this group of people who they seem to be game about knowing that they're in an alliance, but there's a difference between being excited about knowing you're in an alliance and actually being excited about the alliance itself.
Yeah, and I don't think he really needs to get into this sort of snake name calling and stuff like that so early, especially with Janelle, because Janelle's already a target. And by saying stuff like that, now Memphis is making himself a target against Janelle for no reason. He's already part of the biggest alliance in history. And, Janelle's not part of it. So do you really need to do this? It's not like anyone's going to disagree or be like, oh, don't talk bad about Janelle, because it is like a mob mentality and a hive mind right now of this huge alliance.
I also wonder if we're going to see DRs about this, where Memphis, basically has put so much distance between himself and Keisha already, and he sort of talks a little bit about how Keisha may hold a grudge against him because of what happened with the two of them and Big Brother 10, and he like keeps
so long ago.
Yeah, he keeps hammering all this home, and it's just, I don't think it's accurate. But beyond all of that, if I am one of these other people, even if I am a fellow Blob alliancee, am I going to think, wow, Memphis, he's really trying really hard to put a lot of distance between himself and Keisha. I don't want to say he's throwing her under the bus, but he's like inching her close to the bus with some of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it feels like he's just protesting too much. He should have just brought her into the group. Like, why not? If he can, and sort of like, hey, listen, I know last time it didn't go that well. This time, let's work together in a different way where it goes better for both of us and just be part of the Blob.
Yeah, either be part of the Blob or just go with the flow and don't speak out that much about it, because I feel like he speaks out so much about it, it fuels the paranoia further that they could be working together, even if they're really not. Because I've heard people in this house be like, oh, it's splitting up Memphis and Keisha. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is almost exactly what happened to Janelle and Kaser, where they knew that people were going to be like, oh, you guys played together. You guys for sure are going to come to the house and see each other and be like, oh, yes, I have an ally. They tried to distance themselves and pretend it wasn't going to happen. But the rest of the house basically has pushed them into a situation where they're like, well, we don't have a choice but to work together. And I think if Memphis keeps pushing this, he may push himself into a position where he has no one else to work with but Keisha if she stays.
I just want to say a quick shout out to Janelle's Instagram account for preloading a happy birthday message to Kaser on their Instagram before she even left to do the show. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
It is sweet.
Oh, there's your heartwarming moment of tonight. Okay, but now we have a birthday to get to here. Kaser, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We did it a little earlier, but happy birthday from all of us to you.
I don't know the words, and you can be happy too.
Yeah.
He's getting an actual cake, guys.
Yes.
Good on Janelle for kind of making a real cake as opposed to the 2 ho-hos with a Snickers bar
Some
shoved.
Fruit Loops thrown on it.
Yeah. By the way, though, there's costume politics that are getting into this.
Yeah, so Janelle's gotten in trouble because she's not wearing her star costume enough. And we did see a little bit earlier that she was trying to kind of stay in bed a little bit longer so she didn't have to wear it. And, you know, I get it. It's hot out here. We're in the middle of another heat wave, like the third one. I mean, not since they've been in the house, but third one in like a month. It is hot out here. So I know, and it's embarrassing and all that,
Yeah.
but, you know, just wear it.
This is where my big brother hypocrisy comes into play, because for a lot of people, I would get really mad that they're not wearing the costume enough. It's just like, Janelle is like cool enough that she can sort of get away with things like this, and I don't get mad at her. Like, I feel like she's just like the kid in school coming up with creative ways to like cheat on the test.
No, she gotta wear that costume. Like, I don't agree. I think everyone has to play by the same rules. I don't care how cool you are. Put on the costume. We're all here for the smiles.
I think it's just because she's not complaining about it as much, but yeah, I know she needs to win the costume. I feel bad because she's Janelle and she's on the outs, but I guess she could be on the outs wearing a star. But
She could be on the outs wearing a star, and there is next week, and she is a competition beast, so, like, you know, there's some hope.
let's have hope. But we'll conclude this video. Thank you guys for watching and watching every video. We will be back tomorrow morning. We'll see if there's an active night in the house, maybe some strategy conversations, but
Maybe some party mishaps?
I hope there's some party mishaps. Give these people an excuse to have some fun. They got the backyard. Ian's got his hammock. All is right in the world.
Yes.
But let us know. If you were in the house, what would you do in this situation? Would you want to keep Keisha or Kevin? Share in the comments. And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and support us further by checking those links in the description to the store, to our Patreon. And we'll see you here next time.